Very few films have impacted me to the degree that Requiem for a Dream has. To this day, no other film has come remotely close to the feeling of dread, melancholy, and despair that this film evoked deep within my core. Witnessing these people being sunk by their very own inner demons leaves one with a feeling of an empty realization of longing and deficiency. It is extremely easy to dismiss this film as nothing more than a sadistic attempt to pull on your heartstrings, or a pompous inside look into the accelerating life of drugs, sex, crime, and its impending fate. But I think that there is a much more disturbing and grimmer essence veiled between the perfectly executed quick shots and the majestic score that still sends chills down our spines. I asked myself, what would compel someone to inject a needle full of heroin into an arm conquered by necrosis? Answer: look at the relationships, or lack thereof. The motif of isolation between themselves and those around them keeps recurring throughout the film. This is what brought each and every one of them to their own personal hell. Let's take a deeper look into the dynamics of the relationship between Harry and his mother, Sarah. At first sight, it appears to be nothing more than a strained but typical relationship between mother and son. He visits her sporadically and gives her the obligatory phone call every so often. It doesn't, however, take long to unearth the dysfunction within their family. As in the very first shot in the film, the viewer is a disembodied spectator as Harry gets increasingly hostile towards his mother, who refuses to come out of the closet and concede her only source of entertainment to him. It is apparent that this isn't the first time Harry has stolen his mom's property, but Sarah chooses to ignore and appease his behavior, because in her own words,
"Why don't you tell already the police? Maybe they could talk to Harry. He wouldn't be stealing no more the TV."
Mr. Rabinowitz, I couldn't do that. Harry's my only child. He's all I have.
This mirrors another crucial scene that further depicts the superficiality of their bond. Harry and his girlfriend Marion have a hearty conversation at the beach, when Harry reminisces about the times where his addiction drove him to transgressions against his only living parent.
You really love her, don't you?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
He has no clue if he loves his mother. He only loves her because he has to. A superficial obligation. There is a peculiar scene near the halfway mark in the film where Harry visits his mom to give her a brand new TV set. The conversation starts very lighthearted, but it quickly turns into a cry for help after Sarah opens up and tells his son,
I'm lonely. I'm old.
You got friends, Ma?
It's not the same.
Harry is literally caged between the detachment that he's trying to impose on his mom and the remorse of failing to be the prodigal son his mother deliriously believes he is. This is the last interaction that Harry and his mother have in the film, and it all culminated in a brutal but majestic moment of honesty. The director has splendidly mastered the art of blending the dream sequences with reality. This technique is solely made to emphasize the relationship these characters have with their present and former selves. It is mostly blatant within the sequences of Sarah. She's clearly obsessed to wear her red dress once more, as she was able to when she had a life filled with meaning and intimacy. There are even a few instances where Sarah addresses her deceased husband, Seymour.
See that, Seymour? You see how good your son is? He knows what it's like for his mother living all alone.
The palpability of Sarah's dead husband is as real to her as anything or anyone around her. This in itself is quite depressing, but it reveals a much deeper internal predicament that Sarah is battling with. Sarah is unable to cope with her dreary state of mind. She cannot come to the fact that she has been in complete solitude for years. All she has is her TV and a handful of neighbors, who are nothing more than casual acquaintances. She already had these delusional mental issues. Her usage of amphetamines only amplified them. There is another character who exemplifies this motif in a subtler manner. Tyrone is Harry's best friend, his partner in crime, quite literally. Tyrone, like Sarah, seems to be snared into the shadow of his past, unable to move forth as he is haunted by the tender memory of his deceased mother. There is a crucial scene where Tyrone reminisces about his childhood. Since a very young age, Tyrone has had the desire to thrive amidst a broken home and a mother who imprinted him with a sense of true love despite their financial circumstances.
I told you, Mom, one day I'd make it.
You don't have to make anything, my sweet. You just have to love your mama, huh?
Even in his adulthood, he still carries the memory of his mother embracing him to foster his inner drive to succeed in the midst of a criminal empire. But for whom, he has absolutely no one. This is what led him to a life filled with meaninglessness and nihilism. No one to support and no one to cherish him. Sarah and Tyrone both destroy their potential in the present for a delusional image of themselves from memories that are no more. Perhaps the most disturbing ending was that of Marion. Unlike her counterparts, she still has both of her parents, which seem to be alive and well. However, the relationship with them is simply non-existent. Early in the film, Harry and her are having an intimate conversation about her parents, where she divulges the strained predicament within their family.
But I don't get it. Why are you so hard on your folks? I mean, they give you everything. They hook you up with an apartment, with a croaker shrink.
Which is fine, you know, it's great. It's just money is never what I really wanted from them, you know? That's pretty much all I have to give.
Although they may provide for her financially, the connection between them is exceedingly shallow and awfully apathetic. At the very least, they may be aware of her drug problems, but they ignore it and enable her behavior by supplying her with enough funds to survive on her own. But they keep a distance from her because they simply do not care to do anything other than tossing some cash at her and put her in the clasp of a deviant therapist. Or maybe they are just utterly ignorant of her drug abuse, which reveals the lack of involvement and interest in her life. The relationship with her parents is fundamentally transactional. They hurl money at her feet as long as she doesn't pester them with her traumas and self-destructive behavior. This is the tragedy of her character. All of her interactions replicate this underlying exchange instilled in her by her parents. First of all, her therapist, who is the definition of a wolf hidden in sheep's clothing. He is completely aware of her personal and psychological issues, and he exploits her psyche whenever she corners herself into a tough situation, so he can sleep with her in exchange of drug money. Why does she do this? Her parents are more than willing to give her money, but she prefers to sleep with her therapist instead of reaching them for support. This proves the subconscious resentment she has towards her parents. The distance they created from her resulted in a cry for help that went unheard. Her relationship with Harry was as pure as he could get for her. They seemed to love each other and they enjoyed each other's company. Once everything was collapsing, she realizes the true nature of Harry and has an outburst.
You mean you fucked it up?
What the fuck is wrong with you?
You promised me that everything was gonna be okay, remember? I fucked that sleazebag for you, and I put myself through fucking hell for you!
There's nothing out there!
I don't give a shit! You fucking loser!
Once the drugs were gone, and the reality of their relation began to unearth, she realized that her life was ruled by her addiction. She thought she was in control. As we see, she's very ambivalent before calling the pimp.
Yeah. Yeah.
Once her situation reached a point of severe desperation, she decided to sleep with a pimp in order to get her fix. Later, near the closing scene in the film, we see her completely trapped in this life of prostitution, exchanging her body for a quick fix. She's the only one of the four who seems to have gotten away with her addiction, and the one who will continue to pursue it. She has purposefully trapped herself in a perpetual recreation of the relationship she has with her parents. A transactional and distant relationship with everyone around her. Her comfort zone. We are often told through third parties about the horrors of seeing someone addicted to these hard drugs. Some artists even romanticize the use of these psychedelic drugs in a nihilistic landscape. Unfortunately, a few of us know personally someone who has fallen into heavy drug use, and watching them sink has been an experience only a few can withstand. In the end, we are mammals who need companionship and meaning. Otherwise, there are an infinite number of ways that we can fall from our grace. There are only a handful of films who have dared to remotely touch this subject, but none has come close to the darkness and complexity of Requiem for a Dream. In the surface, this film wants us to be afraid of the spiraling consequences of drug use. But in reality, the only terror most viewers were able to connect with were the shallow relationships they have in their inner circle. Sometimes, isolation, neglect, and delusions are the driving factors that make vulnerable people fall into a pit of despair. And once you find yourself looking up from the abyss, it can cause you to lose your freedom, body, mind, and soul. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. A big thank you to all my new subscribers. I am new to this and every one of you counts. Next week, there will be a character analysis from Game of Thrones. So please follow me on Twitter and hit the subscribe button so you don't miss anything. See ya.